Love languages are all about, individuals feeling love. You don't have to understand their love language to give it to them. It's theirs, and they're allowed to own it, and nobody has to make them feel bad for it.
Yeah.
And that's allowing each person to be an individual. Hello, everyone. We are Greg and Jacquie Francis, and welcome to High Performance Parenting, where our passionate goal is to encourage you to raise champion children in a crazy world. Every week, we will bring you multiple episodes from our extensive experience of raising our six happy, healthy, successful, godly kids who are confidently equipped to win big in life.
We deeply believe that any parent who is provided with the right knowledge and continual support can raise amazing kids. And when they do, all of our futures get better. If raising up future generations of absolute champions matters to you as much as it does to us, here's how you can contribute. Like and share this podcast with everyone you know. And together, let's embrace this journey of raising champion kids in a crazy world.
Hey guys, welcome back.
Hey guys, so we're going to continue this
Episode 8.
Going down this process of explaining the 5 love languages for kids. Today we're going to talk about the love language that is expressed through gifts.
Yes.
This, just to give you a little understanding of this, the gifts love language basically says that I feel loved through the expression of a token that represents that you both know me and you're thinking about me. It says, I'm a student of you. I care about you. I understand you. I've been thinking about you. It's like you go out of town and you come back with a gift. What it says is it wasn't just something simple to a gifts love language person. This says, wow, Dad thought that I was with him when he was away.
Right. It's an expression of love. Mm-hmm. It's a physical expression of love that you can hand to somebody who is a gift person, and they'll appreciate it as much as somebody who got a hug or felt, loved by words or by a different love language. Mm-hmm. And sometimes people that don't understand the love language of gift, they will think, well, are you spoiling your kid, or are you giving them too much, or why do you always do that for them? Why do you give them all this stuff? And usually the gifts are not of significant, expensive gifts. They're usually small, individual, personalized tokens that you thought of when you saw them, you wanted to give to this child.
Yeah. And
they can be anything from stuffed animals to, our children, we could find a lucky penny, quote unquote, on the ground, and they'd think it was the coolest thing. One of our little ones, Eliana, actually has gifts. Yeah. And anytime Greg has a chance to clean out his office, which happens about once every 10 years, there are lots of little tokens she finds in his office. Things that the average person would throw out, but if he gives it to her, even if she feels like he personally saved it for her or gave it to her or whatever, she will keep that for as long as possible because it meant so much to her that Dad gave her something out of his office.
Yeah, it can be simple stuff. I can be working on a project or something and there's an extra Allen wrench left over and she's like, can I keep that?
Right.
Drews does it too, but Drews does it because he's kind of a hoarder.
I think he's a hoarder. Yeah. Let's not talk about it. Hoarding is not a love language. That's too much.
Boxes full of
That's too much. But I will tell you, he's a lot like his dad, where when I need a project done, he goes to his tackle box and that's Greg. He has stuff left over from, I think, before we were married that he pull out and are like, I got something to fix this with. I'm like, where did you... What is that thing?
And I say, see, I knew I should have kept it.
We often quote it, unquote it. Greg's dad, his name is Stuart, and I'll jokingly call him, I'll go, Stewie, where did you find this stuff? Because his dad is the same exact way.
Gosh.
He has a garage full of things to fix anything at any given time.
He's never thrown anything away, and he has been the most creative person building anything out of random things.
Which is where Drews gets it from. Like, we are officially sure they're both...
You think it's a generational
Yeah,
blessing?
They're both hoarders. Yeah. But back to what we're talking about. Gifts is what we're talking about. Okay. And I tell Greg, my love language...
By the way, for hoarding thing, do you remember, all the lake house... there's a section under a big deck we had at our lake house in Wisconsin, and it's just picture, it looks like a massive fort, like a good size fort, probably like 20 feet by 20 feet underneath this deck with a slider door on it. And we allowed Ellie and Drew's for this to be their quote unquote workshop. Do you remember that?
Yes.
So I like made this, like, I thought this would be fun, a little fort for them. I would have loved a fort when I was a kid, but it was completely cleaned out. I took time to clean that whole area out, and it was like really nice in there. And I don't know, I didn't even think about it. And I checked back like 3 months later. They had more stuff than I've saved in my lifetime in there. I don't know if they're taking stuff from the neighbor houses.
No,
or what
they took it from your garage, and you didn't even notice it was gone.
You couldn't even walk through there. I don't know where they got all this stuff.
Yeah, from your garage.
It was actually really fun.
They had a ton of fun with it, but I definitely think, gifts is one of those love languages that, again, if you didn't understand how much it meant to the person, you might kind of blow it off. You might just be like, what's the big deal? Like, you have a beautiful, bike outside, or you have nice things in your bedroom, or, gosh, I just bought you new clothes last week.
Well, and we understand this because Jackie and I are not gifts at all.
Yeah.
Like we just aren't. In
Unless
fact,
it's really sparkly and really clear and it shines really bright on my finger.
Jackie's a gift person if it's expensive stuff. That's for sure. Right.
I mean, babe, that stuff, we're investing in me
Yeah,
and in our relationship.
Yeah, I've heard that
Yeah.
for 20,000 years. But
we haven't been married that long.
felt like it. Just kidding. Just kidding.
We'll come back to you next episode.
So gifts now, but Jackie and I, because we're almost so far not that we would almost prefer to never get gifts from anybody, but we do understand like the value in someone honoring you with gifts. You know what I mean? So that's nice. However, it's not our love language. So it doesn't really ever fill a love need for us. So because of that, we can get kind of lazy about this. Like we're pretty notorious, Jackie and I, for forgetting to give gifts in different situations.
Or bring them or something.
We don't. I mean, like, just a funny side note about us. Like, this is just how bad we are about this. Like, when it comes to even certain things that I need to buy Jackie a gift for, she'll probably decide to either pick it out herself, buy it herself, or whatever.
Yeah, but then I wouldn't have to return it.
Right.
You know what I mean? I already know that I'll love it.
But she wouldn't feel bad about that at all.
No. But you would like that I did it too.
For sure.
Because it just took a lot off, your back.
And I know it doesn't. I know what it does. It doesn't. I know what it does and does not do.
Right.
For you. So.
Well, but back to this whole thing. On the flip side, sure, if you go crazy and you buy a ton of stuff for your child all the time and they don't see it as a blessing or appreciation or a token of love, it can be too far the other way too. Mm-hmm. That's one of the things about the love language. You could fill, your kid's bedroom or closet with everything under the sun, but love is something that somebody wants to receive, they're excited to receive it, and they appreciate it. Mm-hmm. Love is appreciation also. I appreciate when somebody, does an acts of service. I'm an acts of service person, and I'm quality time. So I appreciate it. If I stop appreciating it, the truth is I probably really don't feel like I need it or want it.
Right.
And so that's how, even with gifts, when we say Ellie's a gift person, I mean, you can only imagine with as many kids as we have that if you have a special gift token given to you that was unique to you, not everybody got it, that would feel pretty special if you're a gift person.
Yeah.
And
if you're a gift person, you give them a individualized, personalized necklace, and they look at it every single day. Every time they look at it, they feel loved. Right. They actually feel that love. The things to be careful not to do if you have a spouse or a kid that has a gift love language is you don't ever want to be the person that's like that. Oh, yesterday was your birthday? Whoops, totally forgot.
Oh, that would be so heartbreaking.
For a gift person.
Yeah, that would be heartbreaking.
You know what I mean? Or, hey, I was out of town, I was working, and, I didn't get you anything. I was so busy.
We'll do that next week.
I was just so busy. You know what I mean? And kind of give an attitude about it.
Or they just expect them to just understand that.
Or pull the guy card. Man, I'm just a guy. I don't do gifts.
Yeah, that would be hurtful.
But see, that stuff would literally create disconnect. Right. Is what it does. It says, what it says to someone, it says, I don't really know you. Mm-hmm. And I'm not necessarily thinking about you, and so you have to be really intentional. Like, this is one for us. Right. We have to be pretty intentional.
So we are with her. I'm very aware of what, likes and dislikes are, so that when we find something that's special, we can take the time to do that.
And you know what? Because we know that Ellie's love language is gifts, it's okay if we're filling her love tank and if all the other kids, because, most times in our house, other kids show up, well, what'd you get? How come, you can almost hear it. How come I didn't get something? But the reality was it's not their love language. You know what I mean? And so that's part of the thing that we have to, battle.
Navigate.
Because the last thing we want to do is just, okay, hey, by the way, in order to make it easier in our house, everybody has to receive everything the same way we want to receive it across the board.
And it's got to be the exact same.
That would
otherwise
be completely unfair to all the different love languages and the way God created each one of our kids individually.
Well, and I do know that, one of the ways I know that we're doing things, really well in this area is because Ellie is just as good at giving gifts.
Yep.
Like usually my mom and dad, they're just awesome grandparents. My kids affectionately call them Nana and Baka. And Nana and Baka will take them out for their birthday lunch usually. For their birthday, they'll go out, have a special lunch, get dressed up, do something special with Nana and Baka. And typically that entails going maybe shopping, especially for the girls. They'll go shopping wherever it is they want to go that day. And Ellie will have so much money to be able to spend. Mom and dad say, this is what you could spend, pick out what you want. And every time it's her birthday, she not only, of course, picks out something for herself. I mean, she's a gift person. But she comes home with a gift for every kid too. Mm-hmm. And she will walk into the door and be super excited about sharing gifts that she bought.
But how did she learn that?
From her siblings.
Okay.
They did
and how did they learn it?
From us.
Yeah.
They
but
learned
I'm
it from
saying
us.
we intentionally taught them.
That's right.
How to not just receive but to give. And so, of course, it's funneled through. But I get your point. It'd be easy for Ellie just to receive her gifts, but she also really likes to be able to turn it around and give them too.
And that's how I just know that her love tank's full and she understands the importance of it. So that's a good one. I love gifts because it's...
So you want to move on to acts of service?
Yeah, sure. Let's hit that one. I like acts of service. Acts of service is a great love language.
So this is probably Jackie's secondary one. She might argue with me about that, thinking it's her first, but I think quality time is your first, ultimately. We have the blessing of spending a lot of time together compared to probably most people. If we didn't, it probably would be a little different. But just today, right? You want to go grab lunch and, you're like, I'm just excited to be with you. I just want to hang out with you. And it's really easy for me with a million things going on to be like, we've been hanging out for like 3 days straight, right? But you really wanted some individualized time. It was like it was a need for your love tank to get filled. And I'm glad we did it. It was fun. We had a great lunch and,
Well, and it's so funny because before we even went over this, what I want, I was like, all right, let's talk some stuff out. I need you to put your phone down.
Yeah.
I want to talk about my feelings.
Sure.
That's part of quality time.
Yeah.
I get to talk about my feelings.
It's like, you're telling me your love tank's like half full right now.
And I'm expecting you to engage. Tell me about your feelings, even if it's not like, if you really were just like, I'm really just hungry today. I don't really feel like talk about feelings. That's like, again, but I feel the love for both engaged.
Yeah.
And even on the way there, he was a little distracted with a couple things. And I'm like, so what's going on? How's it going? And he's like, what do you want to talk about? I'm like, I don't know. I just need us both engaged. I need us to both. And I think that's just an example of quality time.
Yeah, for sure.
But acts of service is a strong one. And I think this one, again, is misunderstood sometimes.
I agree.
Because many times, even in our house, and I think I might be the only acts of service person, and maybe it's just because of who I am. I don't know.
Well, on an adult level, just real quick, acts of service means you do stuff for me that's important to me, right? When you do stuff for me, it means that you think that I'm important.
Yeah.
Right? It communicates that you value me because you value what's important to me. And a good example just with our life and probably other acts of service parents out there is, you could walk in after work or after a long day and immediately it's like, all right, whose backpack is on the floor? What, have the dogs been fed yet? Why hasn't the dishwasher been run, et cetera? And anxiety just builds and builds and builds because acts of service people, they can almost come across somewhat uptight, but it's not necessarily that. It's just they're very task oriented and they need help. And when you are willing to help, and basically when you're not helping, it sends the signal that I'm in this all by myself, right?
That's true.
And so then you feel alone and you feel unloved. You know what I mean?
Well, you feel taken advantage of, which means you feel unloved. I think, in all homes too, and kids, majority of times I think that as families, we're filling most of their needs. As parents, my children don't have to worry about food on the table. As parents, they don't have to worry about clothes on their back. As parents, they don't have to worry about a lot of things, even that gets done in the house. Yes, there's an expectation that they'll help, but ultimately at the end of the day, if they don't do it, who's going to do it? I'm going to do it. Right? So I think it's so important to understand that I think there are children out there that likes acts of service. They like when you come in and you do things to help make their life easier, whether maybe as they get older and they come home from college or whatever, you're helping with their laundry. Or maybe, dad and mom help make sure that their car is always in tip-top shape when they're 16 years old, and ready for them. Or maybe if you're an acts of service that mom and dad, took the time to care about organizing certain areas of the house so that you could have your own space, or had meals in your, that's an acts of service. Like how many times
helping a kid with homework, they need help, and they, you take the time to slow down and help serve them that way. That means a lot to them.
But I think too, what's neat is, again, when you ask for an acts of service, and like for me personally, really nobody else in the house is acts of service. I'm the only one. So I learned how to communicate so that, everybody can help make that happen sometimes. Like Greg often says, if he's home with the kids, to call 30 minutes before I'm going to hit the door. Because what's usually going on?
Oh, man. Well, I mean, it's just, again, it's differences in love tanks. I personally could take a nap on a pile of uncompleted tasks.
Yes, you do.
That's true. Jackie's like, hey, wake up, help me out. We're just
I can't go to bed without things done.
Wired completely different. But like if Jackie goes away, for sure, it's like it's kind of, I don't want to call it dad rules, but it's just different. It's like that whole trying to get everything done and having everything done all the time thing goes away. And so it's just like the house becomes what it is. But then 30 minutes, I'm like, always call me 30 minutes before, because I'm telling you, it's like a bunch of tornadoes around here, just scooping stuff up and throwing stuff here and cleaning this and making sure and figuring it out. Because the reality is I could meet you at the door and you get home and I'll be like, hey, honey, good to see you. I missed you, something like that. And what are you going to do?
I'm going to walk right around you.
You're going to be looking over my shoulder. You're looking over my shoulder like, is that the dishwasher not done yet? Like, yeah, it's nice to see you too, but you're not even looking at me because you want to see what's done in the house. Right?
It's a fact. Greg's the type, we'll walk into the house and I literally have 6 little humans asking me a question each. So that's at least 6 questions. And some kids have 2, and he's walking right on by. And I'm like, did you ask your dad? Go ask your, you know what I mean? And it's just so different because you are so good at just kind of like staying in your lane and doing your thing. While I'm like, I need some help over here.
We're just wired different. So like in our house, I don't know that we have a kid necessarily that has an acts of service main love language. Maybe it'll come out over time.
I think we fill in so much.
But like this is an example too of like in our house, we have to be a team. So we've had to train our kids to make sure that, because we know that uncompleted tasks raise anxiety for you, right?
Mm-hmm, true.
And so there's nothing wrong with that. So just a matter of, okay, whether we would do it or I would do it that way or not, you need it, for your love tank. So then we organize the kids. We're going to have this in order. We're going to do this. We're going to, whatever. There's always kind of a routine before we walk out the door. There's a routine right when we walk in the door. And we've had to teach our kids, hey, this is just how we do things here. Let's have a good attitude about this. And and I have to have your back with that. You know what I mean? And we've even done things over time, probably need to do more of it again, where we would have, like mom appreciation days.
Yeah.
And a lot of it was letting you go out and do something. But that isn't really what fills your love tank, just going and get your nails done and stuff. What fills your love tank is when we take care of everything around the house that you don't have to.
Right.
Or even if we have a family team night, team meeting night.
Yeah.
It's not really necessarily that it's not necessarily that you mind cooking or anything. It's just that it's nice that you don't have to and somebody else takes care of it for the night.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And then cleans it up and takes care of it. So then, and I think some of that, again, goes to show all the differences. Love languages are all about, individuals feeling love. You don't have to understand their love language to give it to them.
Yeah.
You don't have to be the one to think it's the coolest one out there or the best love language. It's theirs, and they're allowed to own it, and nobody has to make them feel bad for it.
Yeah.
And that's allowing each person to be an individual.
Yeah. Right.
And I think that's the coolest part about love languages.
Well, and it kind of comes back to, okay, what's the core foundation of everything here? The fact is that, you're not just my wife, you're God's daughter. And these kids are not just our kids, they're his kids. And he made them on purpose for a purpose. He made them with their own special, unique things about them. And who are we to try to change them? Who are we to not honor them? You know,
Right.
so in a way, if we're not honoring how God individually created each of us and trying to equip and bring the best out of each of us, then we're almost dishonoring him in that act of dishonoring his people. So, you know, it's a philosophy that you adapt into your house that we have. We're not perfect. Not that we
no.
have to, I don't feel like we need to keep saying that all the time because nobody's perfect. Everybody already knows that. But, you know, we are trying to really, like I said, honor the way that God made each of us, because I know he wants us to function at our fullest, most confident, greatest possible way in order to do what he put us on earth to do.
Right. And we want each of us to be able to live that healthy life.
Yeah.
Fully healthy, fully loved, fully appreciated, and, fully feeling like they're allowed to be their own creative self. And whenever we are giving love to each of our family members the way they really would want it received, they perform, live, enjoy life in a better place. And so therefore we all do, right? Therefore we're all more creative. Therefore we're all having more fun. Therefore we're all doing wonderful in all aspects of our life. And that way too, when things do come along that cause an issue or whatnot, what do? We stand back on the word and we come back to, okay, how can I help you feel better? Is to give you the love that you need. And I think one of the things about it is always making sure with love languages is not to make anybody embarrassed about them or make them ever to feel uncomfortable.
Right. Okay, guys, we'll see you next time. Hey, everyone. Thanks for listening and thanks for your love and support. We hope that today's episode added tremendous value to you and your family. It would mean so much to us if you would partner with us on our mission of helping parents around the globe raise champion children in this crazy world.
To do so, simply take a moment to like and share this podcast with everyone in your network. And we have great news. You get more of us. You can expect new episodes every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday mornings. So be sure to consistently tune in with us and enjoy our show. See you next time.